Hey everybody, Ricky here from Brifford Great Danes, a faith-based Great Dane breeder. Hope you're doing well. Jonathan reached out to me. He is buying a puppy from us and he wanted to know about the right kind of collar and leash to buy for his new Great Dane. Jonathan is 17 years old. We had a fun FaceTime with his mom. It's like a family event, so they are very excited about getting their puppy. And this is going to help a lot of people. So I'm going to show you what's worked for me. And it took me a lot of research and watching videos and stuff. So hopefully I'll save you a lot of time and this will help many of you. Especially, this is going to be geared towards a bigger breed, right? Because I've had bigger breeds. We had a St. Bernard, obviously Great Danes. So this is kind of what works for me. So as a puppy, let me see. I just grabbed I have a bunch of stuff here. And I don't think I even have a regular collar. But anyway, to start with, obviously the puppy's not going to have a lot of power when they're really, really small. So I would just start with, I'm just going to block this out because I'm going to talk about this one right after. But I would just start with a regular collar. You just want to kind of figure each other out, right? So it's just something to hold on to the dog to keep it safe when you're walking him as a puppy. Even in your backyard, I recommend still keeping the leash and collar on for a while, just until you really figure each other out, because it's a puppy. It's going to get into weird things. There may be a hole in your in your fence area that you don't know about. How is this puppy going to react to squirrels and rabbits? And just hang tight. I know there's like a beauty about seeing especially a magnificent animal like a Great Dane, like majestic. As they get older, like seeing them run is like, it's beautiful. But in the beginning stages, really keep that leash and collar. And especially like in a lot of states, it's going to be illegal to just have your dog leash free. So you have to have a leash. And I think it's like 6 feet. And that's what I recommend. But I'm going to get into the leash part. So anyway, the collar, just a regular light collar, nothing too heavy. Don't get into the metals and all of that. Like, you don't need that yet. It's just a little baby, something soft, something adjustable, because that Great Dane is going to grow fast. So I would start there. As he gets a little bit older, I would definitely look into one of these. This is a Martingale. So because, these are young. I'm going to compare it to like children, like my son. He's wild, right? He's young. They're going to be going every which direction. They want to explore. They want to be free, so you want to definitely have something that's going to give you some control. And that's what this is going to do, because basically if you pull on this, it's going to squeeze them a little bit and give them a little bit of it's going to get their attention. Like, oh, I better not move that way because this is going to get tighter and that's going to hurt a little bit, right? So no pain involved. I mean, these are tough dogs. We're not talking about little Chihuahuas, Yorkies. That's a whole different thing. And all of these steps could work for a smaller dog, but you just have to use a lot of common sense, right? But we're talking about a Great Dane with a serious muscle and bulk, and they're just built well. But obviously when they're puppies, you want to go lightly, so there's no tugging. This is not going to be a video of like each thing, because forget it. You could get into, once we get into these, I'm sure I'll be getting a lot of hate messages, but from my experience, it's something that may be needed later. So I would start with this. It just gives them a little gentle. So it's basically a training tool. You could get off of this once they figure out that, hey, I shouldn't pull because I'm going to get a little bit of a snap there, right? I'm going to get a little bit of a uncomfortable feel. You're basically training. This is a training collar, right? But you want to use common sense. Do not, don't yank. There's no yanking. You're getting to know each other, figuring each other out, okay? Training as a whole, I recommend everybody that buys a puppy from me, or you buy any puppies, I absolutely recommend going to training classes, because it's the coolest thing. You get to meet so many good dog people and the trainers, and you see the different breeds, and you become like a family during this, couple months or whatever the classes that you go through, and you could keep going, which I recommend, because every new class that you start, you meet a new batch of dogs. So your dog is now getting used to other dogs. There's nothing like desensitizing, right? Like taking your dog out to parks and being around, like in my home, your puppy's going to become really desensitized, because let me tell you something, there's no better trainer than a child. So my children are going to play a big part in being the trainers here. So they're going to be used to children here, leaving me, chickens, other dogs. We have smaller dogs, people, because as soon as they could, I'm taking them out. We live in a lake community. Those pups are going to be out and about. So, noises and how we're going to do a lot of our training is we're going to play noises. You could actually find stuff on YouTube that plays like kitchen noises, loud house noises, right? The vacuum, the doors shutting, the doorbell. So this makes a lot of sense, because everything plays into how they react with this. So when they hear a doorbell, they're not going to go, they're going to be, oh, I heard that before. When I was in my whelping box, I heard that nothing happened. I heard the doorbell and nothing happened, right? So it's like, what is there a threat, And this is why you always have to keep your dog on a leash, because you don't know what they're going to perceive as a threat. A squirrel to you is not a big deal, or another dog that comes running across the street, but to them, that may spark something crazy, right? And that's where I'm going to get into stuff that I wouldn't use. So like a harness, like I wouldn't use this, because what does this do when they're pulling? This is on their body. They're creating more muscle. Somebody told me this a long time ago. People use this, and it's like all they're doing is creating more muscle. Every day they're pulling. They're creating more muscle, more muscle. So you're just getting a stronger battle. Harnesses out for me. Doesn't work for me. Another thing with leashes, I wish I had one to show you, but don't buy one of those retractable leashes. They are terrible. I see people struggling. The dog's 20 feet away, and they're like trying to reel this thing in like a fishing pole. Absolutely no retractable leashes. Okay, I don't care what you say. It's not gonna. Maybe in your backyard, that's fine. And people think it's like, oh, it's a nice gadget. They get to have more room, but more room out of your backyard is more room for dangerous situations. Because when your dog is 20 feet out and another dog comes darting out to attack your dog, try reeling them in. That thing doesn't. Listen, I walk the lake miles every day, and I see the catastrophes of people like, this dog is owning them. And you talk about a Great Dane, 100-something pounds. A lot of common sense here. I don't want to sound like I know it all, but God, have I been watching this and learning this closely? I did it. I had the retractable thing. The thing broke. There's just there's so much room for a mistake or a possible dangerous situation of your dog or you getting hurt. So I'm a strong believer in a 6-foot leash, or even smaller, because remember, that Dane is going to get taller. So 6 feet, 4 feet is nice, because you could like really hold them, especially if you don't want him sniffing every moment, right? Like that's going to be part of your training. Like 4 feet, you're going to have a nice length where you have good control, and he's not going to be able to get down and sniff and sniff and sniff. So, that's your thing. But I would just use a good old leather or whatever, something strong, just a simple leash, okay? So anyway, Martingale, as they get a little bit older, all right? Oh, here's an example of just a regular collar, right? So this is nice. You could add this as like an extra. Like a lot of times I used to use a regular collar just to put their tag on. And this is their regular, this is always on. Like you don't want to, another big thing is you don't want to leave this on. Like, because God forbid they get caught up in something. So I always recommend, some people leave it on. I don't like to. If you want to leave a regular collar where there's no, it is what it is. It's not going to be able to be tightened. I'm okay with that. And then adding this. What I used to do is, like, here's another example, right? So this is like I think like a choker collar or something. This is another, so this is probably the next step up, if for more control. This is a great training, because you know, you're hooked up here. And when that dog, when he goes, he's getting a little bit of a, you know, and it's okay. It's okay. It's just a correction. It's a loving correction. Gently bring him back. Give him a treat, you know. So this is probably the next step up. And just depending on what animal you're dealing with. Listen, just like humans, just like anything, like you may get a calm Dane, you may get a crazy, you know, we've had a 175-pound rambunctious teenage male, like this young Great Dane, and he was tough. I had to put this on him, you know, this is a prong collar, and this just gave him a little bit of a bite in the neck just when he pulled, and this worked. And this was the only way I could literally walk him around. I mean, I did not feel safe with it without this, you know. So this is another thing. This is like the next step. So another step up. And you don't have to always and never keep this on them all the time. Take it off. This is only when you're going for walks, please. You don't want them to get hooked onto something and get really hurt. So this is a training tool. Like, you know, as they get older, just like humans, like they slow down a little bit. They get it. This is a human bond. This is a figuring each other out movement. Okay, so he may be a rambunctious young like we had a male, which is a male is going to be bigger, stronger. You know, you want him to get used to not pulling. So this is like that tool that's going to get you there, right? So you don't always have to stick with this. So don't get upset. Like, I know people are going to get upset with me, like, oh, that's barbaric. Please go take a walk, go around, go somewhere, go hiking, and look at the dogs and look at how they're owning their owners. Because remember, just like a child, the more you give them, listen, if I leave a cake out here and leave my son roaming around, that cake's gone, okay? So there's training, there's common sense, and there's a understanding that that dog is very smart. He's gonna take advantage, okay? So if you just let him roam around, he will. You know, if you don't show him who is the owner, who is the alpha dog, and you have to meet this is a love. This is not a pulling and a yelling, and this is a calm. Try to approach everything in a calm manner, but just calm and clear. So you're clear. You're the alpha dog. No, you're not going to pull. It's just not going to work, right? So these are the tools that are going to help get you there with treats. And when they come back, a nice treat, because what does coming back to you mean? Oh, when I come back, I get a treat. This is nice. You don't want them to come back to you and you're yelling at them and, oh, you know, whatever, yanking at them and all, you know, even if you're not showing yourself being upset, they feel that energy. These dogs are geniuses. This is what they do. They intuition, you know, you ever hang out with like a human, like, and you're like, I don't know, just something about that person, like your energy is picking up on. This is all play of energy. This is life. Like, you know, you kind of know your senses are tuning in. Something is not okay here. I'm gonna get away from this. So you want his energy when he comes back to you to be, you know, to associate with a nice treat, a nice pet, you know, hug, kiss. You know, you did great, right? And we're figuring each other out. So that's that. What did I leave out? Probably a lot. A little tough with these videos because I kind of get these ideas. And Jonathan, again, thank you for getting me on this video, because this is going to help a lot of people and hopefully it helps you. So just to kind of, you know, go back and go back to your question, your original question, which was what kind of collar. I would just get a simple collar. Forget about this. Don't get into this yet, because I'm expecting you to go to training classes. They're going to guide you. They're going to take each dog individually, and how that dog is reacting is how you're going to go to your next step. But to start, this is a little puppy that you're going to be able to control. So it's okay to just start with just a regular soft collar and a regular leash, you know, because they're small, and it's going to, 4 feet is not going to work because you're going to have to keep going down. I would get a 6 feet leash of any kind of material. leather is good because it's a good quality, it's going to last you longer. So definitely you could invest a little more on the leash, because the leash you're going to always use. The collar you're going to have to obviously replace. They're adjustable, but you're going to have to go bigger. And again, with a Great Dane, you're going to have that big neck, and you're going to need some better stuff. So I think that's it. God bless. Brifford Great Danes, a faith-based breeder. We're all over the place, and I'm having a good time. I'm on, TikTok, Instagram, obviously YouTube. So subscribe there. Facebook, you could join us there. Just search Brifford Great Danes. You could call me or text me if you're interested in a puppy. We still have some puppies available. They are doing really well. They are 10 days old today, just starting to crawl a little bit now. It's amazing to see the dynamics of how each puppy is changing, because I've been watching them so closely. I mean, in the morning I get my coffee and I'm sitting there. It's like watching the best movie you've ever seen. And at night, maybe a wine, some beer, and watching my babies. So God bless. Hope this helped everybody, and talk to you soon.